Welcome dear students to my video class. This session is intended as an introductory lecture on Caribbean poetry which is included in the syllabus of semester 5 BA Honours Degree Program in English Language and Literature, Kerala University. A few poems from Africa, the Caribbean and Latin America identified as voices of trouble and recovery come under the course code BAHE 152. Before we start the poems, I would like to give you a very brief introduction on post-colonial writing just so that you'll be able to appreciate and analyze the poems better.
Colonial discourse is a collection of narratives that dealt with the colonized people told from the perspective of European colonizers. Naturally, they were not always very fair or just to the colonized. They preferred to give a not very flattering picture of the colonized by portraying them as uncivilized and contemptible, whereas the colonizers themselves are presented usually as civilized and benevolent and generous. The European colonizers thought that the colonized people were ignorant, had no culture, made no significant contribution towards human progress. In fact, the biggest justification for colonialism was basically that the culture of the colonized people was inferior to that of the Europeans. They even believed that the people they colonized did not have a history before the Europeans enlightened them. So, from that perspective, colonialism happened for their own good only. That is, the colonizers were heroes who rescued everyone from ignorance and darkness. The post-colonial writers challenged this idea and tried to valorize their indigenous heritage by generating a counter discourse. So, post-colonial writers set about the task of rewriting history from their own perspective. They wanted to show what exactly colonialism did to them, how it destroyed their real culture and left them with nothing that is truly their own. Subversive writings question the established order of things and ideological discourse. Post-colonial writers wanted to reverse the dominant racist ideology advocated in colonial discourse. They wanted to restore the beauty and value of their cultural past and tradition and compel the Western world to take notice of their real culture. The post-colonial writers are really interested in nationhood and nationalism. A lot of these writers are extremely patriotic. The post-colonial writers wanted to highlight and teach the importance and value of their nation's cultural, political, and social identity. Post-colonial literature is not just about criticizing the colonial powers. It also attacks the native corruption or the corruption at home that betrayed the dreams of millions even after gaining liberation from colonial rule. Caribbean literature came to gain more importance during the 1970s and the 80s due to an increasing number of journals and conferences that focused on literature from the Caribbean region and also from writers of Caribbean descent living outside the region. Even in the hierarchy of literary genres, Caribbean poetry enjoys a slightly higher stature as the real embodiment of the fragmented and complex reality of Caribbean existence. The subject matter of Caribbean literature includes a search for identity, both personal and national, exploration of the issues of race and class, the subtleties of race and class, and an affirmation of indigenous culture.
I'm winding up today's session with this tiny introduction on post-colonial writing and Caribbean poetry. In the subsequent sessions, we will be analyzing the poems prescribed for study in your syllabus. Thank you.